Well, hello, everybody, our Ag World our audience. We are just so glad you're here with us again. We're at the top of the year 2025, and we are ready. This is a brand new year for us to do brand new things. And up to today, Coach Simmons here, and of course, my wonderful co-host Teryon Parker is here, and just want to say hello to everybody and check out what you got going on for the new year.
Happy New Year, everybody. It is so wonderful to see you. Welcome again to the AgUp World Podcast. New year, new energy, and we're just happy to have you all with us on this journey once again. Build our AgUp World community.
Oh, my goodness. And it's so important as we go into another year that we have vision. I don't know how important it is to talk about vision, connecting it to your purpose, having a purpose-driven life, living on purpose. And a lot of people ask, like, where does this purpose come from? This whole idea of entrepreneurship, where should I be going? Where does this come from?
Okay, so I was recently at an event on the northern side of Atlanta where we were doing vision boards, and I decided to line my vision board with some scriptures that align with what I wanted to be with. Just asking for protection, wealth, and abundance, and being the type of woman that I can be proud of. I did, kind of base certain things off certain areas of my life. So certain parts of the board are dedicated to like business, health, finances, as you can see, like the markets, as far as like investing, getting into a space where I'm actually, the boss babe version of myself. You have Superwoman in the corner. Having a healthy mind, just, talking about mental health and really focusing on, focusing on all types of, growing friendships and things of that nature. Just really having it in front of you to see where you want to go is something that kind of helps. But in addition to having a vision board, you also have to have a plan. So I did get a planner at the same event, and it has a lot of different areas for budgeting. So to reach those finance goals, how are you going to budget? When you're thinking about your business, like we're setting SMART goals, it's not just, I want to do this. Well, how are you going to do it? Is it achievable?
What does SMART mean? Help us out. Yeah.
What does SMART mean? So SMART goals.
It's a no stands for specific.
Specific. So you don't want to just give a general goal like, I want to be rich. Well, what does rich look like to you? How do you what is the deadline on that? Measurable. Like, can you are you gonna have a small goal to achieve in that time frame? And then continue on, what are the steps to reach that goal?
Measurable also can mean is it going to take you weeks? Is it going to take you months or years?
Right.
When you're talking about SMART goals being specific, again, what is the vision? What is the purpose? And M, what we said was measurable, and the A is what?
Actionable. You want to make sure that you can actually do things regarding to it. So it's not just something that's impossible for you to achieve. What are the action steps that you are putting behind your goals? Let's see.
Yeah, actionable also in my mind means, is this something that you can do? Sometimes we have these big goals, and this just for an example. So I want to open up a restaurant, right? Because I know where people like to eat. Is it actionable though? Have you ever worked in a restaurant? Do you even know how to cook?
That's the R part, the realistic. Is it something that you can do? I want to make $1 million, but is that something that I can achieve within this time frame
Attainable,
and being realistic in the time that I want to set for it? So whenever we're setting goals for our business, for ourselves, we just want to make sure that we're being specific with it and able to put it into bite-sized chunks, because it's easier to achieve a goal if you're taking baby steps in between than just trying to see the end of it and like, oh, I have this vision board in front of me. How do I become this person? No, I'm going to sit down and plan out everything. Also, it's really like another thing that I did with my therapist was writing out, or a task that I did was writing out 300 goals. And it can range from anything from something as small as like reading a book or going on a vacation, or, like it's, long-term goals, short-term goals, but just write it down, because the biggest thing about it is like getting it onto paper so that you can see it on a consistent basis, which is going into
basically
Habakkuk
Habakkuk. Okay, so all the time we like to refer to the word Bible basic instructions before leaving Earth, and so there is, and I didn't have a screen for this, Daniel, so forgive me. You can just kind of shoot back to us.
Come back.
But this is this is definitely, again, along the lines of vision boards and all of that. Write the vision, make it plain. So in the Bible, Habakkuk is a chapter there as well, but we just like to figure out how can we grow in our faith. So in these words are specific. Like, we might not can read the Bible and understand, but there are certain verses and words in the Bible that you can stand on and hold your God to. And it says, write the vision and make it plain, that he may run who reads it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, and at the end it will speak and will not lie. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. That seems contradictory. Though it tarries, that means it seems like it may take a long time because it's not on your time. Okay, and that's why people think, when he says wait for it. So you put a seed in the ground, and this is a seed, whether it's your enterprise, your business, your vision, whatever goals you may have. You have to be patient with yourself. You have to be patient with the seed that is being developed inside where you can't see it yet. And if you know anything about a seed, it grows down first before it grows up. It establishes some roots before it actually comes out of the ground. And so you have to kind of hold yourself to that. When it says so that someone can run with it in life, and if you notice, when you don't have a vision, when you don't have purpose, you're just walking through life and you just standing for anything, and then finally you might find yourself just sitting at work, sitting at your job, sitting at the table, not contributing much, not having much to go with. But if you had a vision, it would be something that someone could run with. Someone could just and running, it means it's 2 feet. It's never on the ground at the same time, because you're always being as quick as you can and moving with the vision that has been given to you. So we want you to stand on that too. The vision that is placed into you. We believe that divine order comes with vision. Provision comes with vision. In order to carry out what you need to, understand that you got to have vision. So whether you put it on a vision board, a business plan, farm plan, it's important that someone can also read it and understand it and take it to the next person. So many times we have these ideas we like to hold and keep to ourselves. We're afraid someone's going to steal it, but what does that mean? The idea that you have not wrote it down and made it plain, so that if I gave it to someone else, they can read it and say, we understand exactly what you want us to do right now. I can't bring you to every meeting, but I can bring some papers that represent you to every meeting. I can give it to loan officers, investors, financiers if you write it down. I may not be able to bring you to every meeting that I go to, but if I run into the right person and I got what you have, your vision on paper, and it's clear, right, that's not going to stop.
Even if you can't run, like what Martin Luther King said, if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl.
Crawl.
Right. Just trying to understand that any progress is better than no progress at all. I know myself personally, I get caught up a lot on perfectionism, and that does kind of limit my abilities to actually take action. So even if you aren't doing exactly what you want to do at that time, just make sure you're doing something. It may not be perfect, but like even in the last couple episodes, like my mom was just like, just show up, just that's all you gotta do. I'm like, I don't know what we're doing, I don't know what's going on, but no, just show up, be present, be accounted for, and it's going to go because God is on your side, and that's what was at the bottom of my vision board as well. It's like everything that you do will be blessed, and so just having that confidence in myself and the faith in God is something that allows me to continue moving throughout all of my goals and achieving those things. Also, what you were saying about the vision is just like having it around you, seeing it, writing your goals in the present tense and saying that expressing gratitude for it allows you to attract the things that you want. Like saying, I'm so happy and grateful now that my business has reached $10,000 in sales. You write that on the index card, put it in your wallet every time, put it in your bathroom, put it over your bed just to see it and internalize it so that your brain is going to start, your subconscious is going to start believing it. And now you're going to take more actions. Like next time you think about it, like, okay, what can I do? I need to put up some posters somewhere. I need to send this out. I need to send out a text message. Oh, go buy a $2 ad on Instagram. Whatever you are doing, you're going to be thinking about it because it's right there in front of you. So really just being intentional about your goal setting so that you can, grow yourself, because that's what we're doing. We're growing together. It's the AgUp world. Agriculture is all about growth. And so just be mindful of that when we are going into the new year you might not have a resolution. I'm not going to do this no more. It's really not about that. It's really about just growing and developing. It doesn't have to be the first of the year every time. You can do it. You can start over any point in time. Oh yeah, no, we might have missed January 1st already gone, but you can still start next week. You can still start February 1st. That's your new year. That's your business.
My new year is November 23rd. That's my birthday. So every year that I come up on the 23rd, I create my New Year's resolutions. What am I going to do better for myself? No one is perfect. So there are plenty areas in your life that you could work on, whether it's spiritual, whether it's physical, whether it's tangible, whether it's body. So just keep that in mind. There's always spirit, mind, body, your physical, your mental, all of that is very important. And you can always work on that. If you got anger issues, please know that identify that and work on it. If you find that you are an introvert and you don't speak as much, Toastmasters, other things to help you speak, do it more. You want to get better at something, do it more. So, in talking about that, we can roll right into our topic for tonight, which is urban agriculture. No different than anything we're talking about as far as putting some time in, watching your efforts turn out for good. Urban agriculture is something that it's a new term. And as of 2018, to be specific. So before 2018, farming, ranching, you had to have a minimum of 5 acres for that to even to register as you are a farmer or rancher. A minimum of 5 acres. Now you can have less than 1/10 of an acre and be a farmer. You can farm in your pots, in your backyard. There's a number of places now that you can farm. So even though agriculture for a united people, AgUp World, is for those who are in agriculture every day. They may have 10 to 40 to 200 to 2,000 acres. Now, and those people, we definitely want to help them who are already in agriculture make money in agriculture. But urban ag is a new term, a new definition. And it is because USDA has to regulate everything that is grown that we eat. If you give it to your neighbor or your friends and someone gets sick, somebody's got to be able to trace that back. So now they realize the importance of not just rural areas, but urban ag as well. Right. So, and what would be a good definition of urban agriculture?
It is cultivating, processing, and distributing food near urban areas. It ranges from doing activities at rooftops, balconies, backyards, community gardens, abandoned lots, and it is often within a densely populated city where you don't have that rural space to grow.
And USDA defines rural as 5,000 or less. There are some grants that are coming out, and they define rural areas as 50,000 people or more. So if you are in a city or a county that has less than 50,000 people, it would be considered a rural area. And so if you're in a big city, like Atlanta, where there's 3 million people, it is definitely considered urban areas in regards to agriculture. So that's kind of what that's about. Also, urban agriculture involves just smaller farming. So you don't necessarily have to be in an urban area to relate to urban farming. If you have a small farm, or if you're just doing fruits and vegetables on less than half an acre, and the acre is about the size of a football field. So, several people have that much space in their yard, but you can pretty much farm anywhere, on anything, through anything. Those are the different mediums. We got an event coming up January 25th. And you can put that flyer up for me. Well, no, this is before we introduced our
I was going to touch on a few more things as far as like for the people to kind of get more.
Well, before the flyer,
more of an idea of what urban agriculture is.
Yeah, let's help them understand.
It's more so like the key features of it are food production, whatever you're growing, vegetables, fruits, herbs. Like raising animals, goats, or like you can have a bee keeping station in an urban setting. It's more so about using innovative methods because you are in an urban space. You have to you're not able to use like large tractors. So you might be using hydroponics system or vertical farming where you stack your crops to, save on space, or using rooftop gardens or greenhouses because that's, more capable for your scope of work.
Yeah, and then when we even talk about those things, and I'm glad you pointed that out, that a lot you can do urban gardening anywhere in urban areas. She mentioned rooftops, even apartment complexes may even allot areas for community gardens. And of course, you have your backyard or a pot or a, again, just different areas where you can grow different things. When they talk about vertical farming, that means going straight up. We usually talk about row crops, going horizontally, doing horizontal farming, but vertical farming is better for like warehouses, just different places where you can't go out, you can't go up. And so stacking layers, often indoors, is also too a something that is a key indicator of urban agriculture.
And then also it's about like the community and economic impact that it has. They're, about bringing people together because we're doing this community farm. Community garden. We're having, like we talked about previously, like food deserts. And so it gives more access to fresh, healthy foods to people in a larger community where there aren't, direct access to rural farmers who are bringing those fresh products in and getting it shipped all the way from the grocery store. You know where it came from, who it came from, right there, in your own neighborhood. It can provide jobs and entrepreneurship opportunities for people who want to become farmers but don't want to live on a farm.
Yeah, and I met a young man, and we're going to bring him on in a couple of Sundays. His name is Milan Edie James, and you can find him on Instagram. But this young man is doing hydroponics, and he's taking it to a whole new level. So you can see that again. This is something that you can get into and start making money as early as, I think it's 15. Now, I'm not saying that we can do what he does because he graduated from high school already as well. But again, this is another avenue for people to get into more streams of income, which is always very important.
And we do have, as we're getting into that, we're gonna get ready to introduce our speaker, just because she is an urban ag specialist. She's able to give us more details about ways that we can get involved in our community, different types of hydroponics and aquaponics systems, and like what to grow in your urban farm. And so,
and I still want to bring on my flyer now.
Oh,
bring
I'm
the
so
flyer.
sorry.
Yes, we paused my flyer.
Now back to your flyer.
Okay. So yeah, so on the flyer though, and it features Lady Felidia, who is our speaker. She is we'll be doing this event January 25th from 12 to 4 p.m. and it'll be located at 1991 ML King Jr. Drive, which is a apartment complex. And so we are anxious and excited about starting community systems even there. During this event that we're hosting, and yes, you can find it on Eventbrite, AgUp Urban Edition on Eventbrite, so you can register for this event. And our discussion topics are urban agriculture representatives from USDA. We'll be covering aquaponics, hydroponics, agriculture enterprise, and community food systems. And so Lady Felidia is our host for that event, and she is our main speaker for tonight. She'll be going over just a couple of those topics with you guys, and she's going to put her contact information if you're interested yourself in doing anything around urban agriculture. So yeah, Lady Felidia, I wanted to introduce you, but ma'am, it is a pleasure to have you on with us, and we're just gonna let you give us a little bit of information about yourself. Lady Felidia, welcome.
Yes, she logged off for a second. We're waiting for her to come back in.
Okay.
That makes sense. And so, yeah, just even talking about hydroponics and aquaponics, that is a new way that has come into play. Again, for people who don't have soil and things of that nature. So we definitely want to have our expert urban ag specialist to come in and kind of just tell us about herself and yeah, just what she's been doing. Lady Felidia.
How's everyone doing tonight? Hey, family.
Hey, Pam. Welcome,
So, Ag
welcome.
Up, how y'all doing? Coach and Teryon. So, I am Lady Felidia, Chief Operating Officer of Noble Shungite Farms, founder of Agriculture's United and Hawk Innovations Training, which is an education company. Oh, wow, look at it. There it goes. So so about me, well, Coach said don't be too professional, so we'll get a little bit personal. I am from New York, Jamaica, Queens. I was born in the 80s. My family is um, largely in part right here from the great state of Georgia and, all up through the Carolinas and all up through the Cherokee. We are Cherokee Native American as well as Blackfoot, uh, as well
That's
as
why
some
you
other
got that
things that
good
I'm fortunate
hair.
that
I was
mixed
wondering.
in. And
You got that good hair.
um,
Amen.
and a lot of times people, I don't know if that light is getting in the way, but a lot of times people ask me, like, where am I from? And it's very difficult to say because while I love New York and I'm from New York, I also love Georgia and I'm also from Georgia, as well. I really, I have roots here. And Coach, you were speaking about roots and how important they are that, before a plant grows up, it grows down, and that's really the most important part of it. And so, I'm here because these are where my roots are. And I feel like this is it's important for me to dig in here. I'm an educator. I've been a teacher since about 2010, 11, and I absolutely love that. It's at the core of everything that I do. I honestly believe that if when we stop educating ourselves, it's time to become part of that soil to grow something else, because that's what we're here for. Um, our coach, I'm
Got your
not sure exactly
interest.
what else. If you want to ask me a question or what else, I
Who
can say
met
about
you
myself. I'm a
doing?
mother. I
Yeah.
would you say, yeah, okay, bring it, bring it.
That's
I
it.
am a mother. I a community activist. I'm a speaker. Um, I don't know what this is.
Yeah. The balancing act that you do. So yeah, you're a speaker, you're a
Yeah,
mother.
yes, a speaker, mother, urban farmer, silly at times because I really just love to have a good time and laugh. Uh, I'm a poet. I love that. I'm a poet, and so I am a dope girls grinding with Sunday Jones. If anybody knows Sunday Jones, she's really big out here in Atlanta. She also has a foundation um, that I help her with, and we collaborate on events. We do a lot of community work, so I am a community advocate, uh, uh, community
What kind of
lover.
got you
You know,
into, how long have you been into urban agriculture?
So that's an interesting question. Thank you for asking me that, Coach. So probably since I was a kid, my grandfather, who was a great farmer, he brought farming to New York City. So we farmed in Queens in the city. We grew food in our backyard in Jamaica, Queens, and we shared that food with our neighbors, with people around us. And so it has always been a part of, you know, me, my fabric, the core of who I am.
Wow, wow. And I know you mentioned several organizations that you are working with. Can you go individually and say what they actually do, the services they provide?
Yes. So Agricultures United is a sister or parent corporation. And under that, it involves pretty much everything, that I do. Um, Agriculture is really, it's more, it's more than just growing food. It's really about the way that we live, the way that we relate to each other. And so uniting that under everything that we are, Coach, we had, kind of, when we talked about the names, understood how important it was, and how much we were aligned because of how much our names were similar, you know, and it is because of that purpose for Agricultures United. It's just really just to bring people together. And so with that, Noble Shungai Farms is an amazing company that I've had the blessing of becoming part of and becoming the chief operating officer of. That company was started by my dear friend Prentice Gilliam, also affectionately known as Farmer P,
I'm a P.
and my yep Pete, and my also our other good brother, Third of Third World Enterprises, who is also an amazing farmer here, an urban farmer here in the city. And they started the company some years ago before I ever even came on the scene. But when I did, about 2 years ago, they really received me as family, and we've been rocking ever since. And so our initiatives are really to educate the community on how easy it is and how important it is to grow your own food. How you can make money with growing your own food, how you can become self-sustainable and self-sufficient in doing that, in all ways, honestly, through growing food, but also through growing relationships as well, and building with
Okay.
people.
That's amazing.
And then, and so with that, we really focus on a lot of education in the schools, um, composting programs, grow programs, water programs, teaching kids about the importance of water, um, hydroponics, aquaponics, all of, just encompassing STEAM in all of those ways. And that brings us to Hawk Innovations Training, which is an education company. And that is our LLC.
Wow. And that is why you are my guest for tonight, ma'am. Because we know that you know what you're talking about. Through this podcast, I like to give out good information people can use. And so we're just going to jump right into some things I know people want to talk about. And I know as an urban ag specialist, you can kind of help us understand better. So let's talk about that hydroponics and aquaponics. What is that whole, system? And then is it different? Are they the same? What's going on with that? Can you help us out with that?
Hydro and aqua, both of them sound like water. So we know it's water, but
hydro and aqua is not the same.
Say it, Teryon. Wait, I messed that up last time. It's Teryon.
Yes.
Yeah, aqua.
Yes.
Hydro.
Yes, absolutely. So
Yes.
aquaponics versus hydroponics, right? At the core of it, the word aqua obviously means water, but hydro also means water, so sometimes it can be a little bit confusing. So hydroponics is using exclusively water and it involves a system where you have to replenish the nutrients on a daily basis in order to feed the plants that you are trying to grow, that you are growing.
Still no soil.
Say what
no
now?
soil, right? No soil.
This does not involve soil. No,
okay.
This does not involve
just like
soil.
running the tubes through planters, and the water is going through to the plants, and you
add the nutrients,
the juice, the plant juice,
exactly,
to the water.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you think about it, Teryon, like that, if you think about it like that, you constantly have water that's running through a system. So there's nothing that's actually holding the nutrients around the root. And if that's happening, that means that you have to replenish that on a daily basis, or have a mechanism or a system that replenishes that for you. So in a very simple way, that's hydroponics. With aquaponics, which is a bit different and which I kind of enjoy a little bit more, it involves adding fish to the system. And by cultivating the fish, it allows for nutrients to be constantly replenished in the system, in a closed loop system as well. And the medium that we use is a clay medium that helps to hold bacteria, different fungi, and different nutrients that the plants need at their roots. So it still involves moving water through a system, constantly moving water, but we have a medium there that allows for the building of that microsystem that is required for great food growth.
What are the fish doing in that situation?
What are the fish doing?
So what are the fish doing? I wish I had my children here to explain, because it's their favorite part. We have a whole little song and dance that we do about the system. So what the fish do? We feed the fish, right? We give them whatever, food we give them. One of the main foods that we feed our fish is duckweed. It's high in protein. The fish eat it, and it replenishes itself naturally with sunlight. So I may come in, scoop up a bunch of duckweed out of, one of our grow beds, and by the next day when I come back, it's completely replenished. So it's a self-sustainable system in that respect. I also feed them other things, but everything is organic when it comes to that system. But also, that's a great way to be sustainable. So you feed the fish, and then the fish eat what you feed it, and then they produce waste. The waste that the fish produce is high in all of
Nutrients.
the magic, right? All of the nutrients, right? All of the nitrites and nitrates. And that water then runs through the root system of the plants. As that water runs through the root system of the plants are also filtering and taking out what it needs from the water, which helps to filter that water before it goes back to the fish. Now, there are some other steps that are in place there to help with the filtering process, but before the water gets back to the fish, it is filtered and then it runs again. Obviously, due to evaporation, depending on the kind of system that you have and how big it is, you have to replenish your water or refill your water. Um, Test your system to make sure levels are aligned, pH is correct. But yeah, in a nutshell, that is the difference between both of the systems.
And can you tell us about your system over there, your aquaponics system in the hoop house is in the right? Is that a hoop house with the aquaponics inside that you are managing?
Did you
I've
say the
seen
greenhouse? You mean
the
the greenhouse?
greenhouse.
Coach,
It
did you
slipped my
say the hoop
mind.
house? Coach said the hoop house. So
Yeah,
that's
don't
the
tell
healing
anybody that I
greenhouse. And
know
I
this.
love that you called it mine, Coach. I really do, because I'm an Aries and everything is ours. But it is not mine. It does not belong to me. It is the community's healing greenhouse. And it was there long before I was blessed with the opportunity to come serve there. And it is where I serve with and through the Andrew Walter Young Foundation, which, if you're from Atlanta, you know them. A lot of the things that they've done around the city. And so this greenhouse is one of the really great things with the system that's in the greenhouse, which I love. It is a dual system, so it means that we have two tanks that hold about 750 gallons of water each. And in each tank is where we have our fish, and then to that is attached three separate grow beds that hold about 250 gallons of water, just to give you all some context. Around the greenhouse, though, we also do traditional farming and composting. And this is a complete education center. So a lot of different schools from around the area are able to come here and tour the greenhouse, learn about the greenhouse. We also, I want to say last spring, we did a healing a plant therapy event there at the greenhouse, where we had collaborated with Push 2.0, who created exclusive interactive NFC technology for the greenhouse that allowed for anyone to come in and really interact with a cell phone to find out what was growing in there, what were the benefits and the properties of anything that was grown in a greenhouse, the amount of sunlight that it needed at that time. And so yeah, that was another project that we did in the greenhouse. That system that we had there has been producing food for I want to say almost 10 years now. And but very actively within the last 8 years, the community knows about it. They come there to get food. Like, I'll be in there on any given day, and I'll have Miss Mary come on down and say, "You got some more mint, baby." And I really love that about the Healing Greenhouse, located off of Campbellton Road. If you guys want to go there, and you should.
At the YMCA, Andrew Walter Young YMCA is where this is located. I'm sure a lot of us were raised there or put our children there. If you lived in Atlanta, you definitely wanted to be a part of that particular YMCA. And so, and now Miss Lady Felidia is running the greenhouse over there. So,
can you tell us what are some of the things that you all are growing in those systems, like in the aquaponics system and then around the greenhouse?
And yeah, just what are crops? What are some type of crops suitable for that? Hydroponic aquaponic system.
So that's a great question. Thank you, both of you all. To answer that question, it really depends on how big your system is and how well it is stocked with fish, if we're talking about an aquaponics system. But traditionally, there are some things that are easier, let's say, to grow and that are sustained better in an aquaponics system, such as herbs. If you want to grow an herb garden or a medicine garden, it is very easy to sustain plants of that nature in an aquaponics system. Lettuces. Last season we grew tomatoes, we grew peppers, we grew these little striped. I forget the name of them. These little striped tomatoes that are just delectable. But we grew some of those. We grew basil, lemon balm, what else? Rosemary. We grew, I said peppers, all kind of peppers. Pineapple sage is another thing that we grow there. That one we grow in ground though. All different types of lettuces, kales, cabbages we were able to grow there. Strawberries. The strawberries are in ground though. Those are not in the system. What else?
Right, it's a whole little mini grocery store.
Right, thank you. You said what?
It's a whole little mini grocery store.
It is. And we really have a different variety in there, and we switch it out during the season. So we do not always have the same things. We've grown a variety of things there. And we, also partner with the community to grow the things that they would like to see there.
Awesome. My experience with hydroponics, I was able to clean and take apart, clean, and put back together about 10 towers with Fort Valley State University. And when I tell you butternut lettuce, it was beautiful. It didn't even look real. It looked kind of plastic fake, except for when you touched it, it was so springy and soft. But the prettiest lettuce I have ever seen was coming out of hydroponics. Like, I never thought that it could be so green. It could be so full. And definitely growing in hydroponics produced that. I think we did lettuce. We did some mustard greens. And when I tell you big, beautiful food, oh my gosh, at 10 towers, which are about 8 to 10 feet tall, can grow about 2 acres of food. So as you get your record keeping and things together, be mindful that when you are trying to apply for grants and things of that nature, you need to know exactly what your yield is and what you're producing. And so that is a really big deal when it comes to writing grants or getting monies, is understanding your yield or how much food are you producing in your systems. Whether it's aquaponics, we talked about fish, but I've seen people use shrimp and lobsters and crawfish in their aquaponic systems. And so for that reason, a lot of that we're doing. Yeah, go ahead. a lot of that we are getting involved in when it comes to aquaponics. You can kind of stretch it all the way out. I haven't seen any real fish farms when it comes to that. But again, can you get through?
Barely. Oh.
Technical difficulty.
We're trying to get around my setup. Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, so aquaponics is new. Hydroponics again, and all this stuff has been around for a while. But as we are trying to figure out what to do about these deserts and just these different things going on, food deserts, food insecurities, is causing us to be more mindful of what are we growing, how can we grow it. And so hydroponics, again, with the vertical farming going up, that's kind of what we want to see. And so another topic that we want to get into.
I wanted to kind of touch on what she was saying.
Okay, yeah,
I'm back.
we're still
I'm
talking.
you guys.
We're still
I'm
talking.
back.
Like,
You're right on time because I wanted to ask her like just as far as like how you're talking about the community garden and different ways of getting into actively educating people about it. Like, what are some ways that people can get involved if they want to start, these community systems to kind of help build a community garden, or like if they wanted to, get the education for their kids or their family, things of that nature.
what would you suggest?
So they can just get outside, be outside like everybody. Come on outside. But come on.
Just that
Come on
simple, huh?
outside. But honestly, just engage. We do have a volunteer form that I will share, and we have different sites around the city where you can come to volunteer. And through volunteering, anything that we do, we teach. So, if you come out, you're out there with us, your hands in the dirt, you're going to be able to learn and to engage with anything that we have going on, any community systems that we have put in place, depending on where your heart is,
We got some schools watching, some other maybe, apartment complexes. What are some creative ways that, urban agriculture systems can be incorporated into these into these places? Yeah, schools, maybe community center, like what you doing at the Y, like what you doing,
right. So,
at the apartment complex. How do how do we incorporate that stuff?
And then what like, okay, let's just say like what's the budget on this? What's the ticket
on top of that?
Getting this started.
Yeah. One question at a time.
So first question, right? First question. What are we doing out here? How can you create these systems? How can you bring this to the forefront? Definitely, tap in with us. We have a garden club over off of Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. We built where they actually had grow beds there. No one was utilizing them, and it is something that should be utilized. So there in that neighborhood where we have that garden club, utilizing this small space, it was actually on the side of a building that wasn't being used. So figuring out where do you have space, where can you put grow beds, where can you put towers, where can you put systems that you're able to grow. This can also be put on different porches as well, like as if you're in apartment complex or situations like that. It is our honest belief that like every apartment complex, I don't care if you're here in Atlanta or anywhere else, they should have a community garden. Like everyone that lives in that community should be allowed to come and get food from that garden, especially if you live in a food desert. And we already know that there are lots of food deserts around Atlanta, too many to be honest with you, but around the country as well, but we here in Atlanta, so that's where our focus is right now. Throughout our schools, this is something that is extremely important. I honestly believe that creating those educational pathways for our students to start learning about agriculture, about how to grow, about what to grow from the time that they are in school. These are things that are important, right? We're learning about things that these kids they might never use. So there should be education pathways. We have programs in at least right now 3 and growing schools around the metro Atlanta area, where we've created programs around aquaponics, around composting, where the students take their food from the cafeteria. They know what to save, they know how to save. And then when we have class once a week, everyone is out there, they're bringing their scraps, they're bringing their food, and we are making soil. And then they're using that soil to grow food. And this is a year long program. So to move on to the next, and then also, schools can become centers for agriculture. They can become centers for composting. And by doing so, they can also open themselves up for different grant opportunities, different funding opportunities from the state, because now they move into a different bracket, which is agriculture. And it is a very simple process. So it is something that can benefit any school, and does. And it doesn't just benefit the school, but it benefits the community. Any community that has a center where you're growing food, where you're composting, then you're talking about waste reduction. You're also talking about community involvement and networking and support system. You're talking about self-sufficiency. You're talking about helping to eliminate food deserts uh, around the city. So those are some ways that they can get involved. And what's the budget? What's the starting budget, on something like the like this? Like how do we get started? We started out of our own pockets, but that was a very small operation. And where we're going with this, we're taking it global, so we need a good amount of funding. We need all the funding that we can get, but a good number to start with would be, about 100,000 dollars to help with operations, to help with completing systems out and growing, hiring, and branding and marketing uh, on a much larger scale. You know,
Being intentional is very important with anything that you're doing. If our communities want to make some changes, they got to be intentional about the changes. I know even in Atlanta, they have Ag Atlanta and Atlanta Harvest, just a number of organizations that people can attach themselves to. But again, this is something you don't have to go to school for. As continual learners, we always want more and more knowledge. But like Lady Felidia said, it is something you could just go out in your backyard. They sell seeds at Publix, Home Depot,
the dollar store.
The dollar store.
I will tell you now.
but I'm gonna interject. I'm gonna interject right there and just say, be mindful of the seeds that you get, because seeds grow fruit. So make sure that where you're getting your seeds from, that they are organic seeds, the best way that you can make sure. If you are buying plants that are already seedlings, make sure you know what's in the soil, that those plants, if you're getting plants from Home Depot or Lowe's, make sure that or at least you try to treat it before you put it into a different system.
Right. I would add a comment on that. So my dollar store seeds, they did grow something. I didn't eat that food though. Yeah, my lettuce started growing, my kale popped up. Like I'm pretty sure a rabbit was munching down over there on that little side stoop, but yeah, because the lettuce got ate. Okay, it sprouted up. It was some sage in there that popped up, but no, I did not eat that food. I just, like you said, I just got out there and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just grow me something today, and it popped up, and it's still to this day like little sprouts of kale just popped back up from it's been like another year since I planted it the first time and it grew. So definitely. Yeah, I do agree with that. I think it's a wonderful thing that we are getting more into like being more sustainable, because it's not fair to the planet that we're just going out and buying soil when all these food scraps and waste can be composted and creating the soil and we're going to get into regenerative agriculture soon with our next guest. but literally just being mindful of using what we have, like make it make sense. I definitely need to touch bases because I am a part of the garden club at my school. I'm an educator as well, teaching 8th grade science in my community, and that was something that I did want to look into as far as like the composting, because I have seen schools doing that before, like taking the cafeteria food and composting it for the actual garden that's there. But like you said, as far as like getting the funding, like what are some strategies or tools that you would recommend for like fundraising? Because I mean, I personally don't got 100K, but I do know like our school is partnered with Lowe's to get like the tools that we need sometimes, and things of that nature. But just like looking out for, like you said, I know you said grants. Is there any other strategies that you might recommend?
Yes, I would recommend networking with your local urban farmers as well. Just really staying connected is honestly very important. There are a lot of opportunities, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a grant specialist. There's a different department. Like, you have to know what you're good at. You have to know where your strong suit is, Teryon. And I know,
Not the
you
funding
know, I
person.
know where mine is. But so we do have a separate department that focuses on that. But really staying connected. A lot of the resources that we've been able to come across really has just been because we've been in different communities, speaking with people. Farmers are some of the most generous people on the planet. I don't care where you go in any country, in any race, they are, I'm going to say, the most generous people on the planet. They will give you anything, the shirt off their back. You want food? Here, take it. All the food that that you can have. But there's a stewardship and a goodness and a reciprocity, that is understood within that. And so yeah, honestly, I would say stay tapping in with your community and the people around you. Holding like events like the garden club, inviting people out to see what it is that you do. I believe that a lot of times we are very, clingy with our money and what we feel like are our resources, because we were not able to see where it goes. Where's the money actually going? What's being done with my money? You want to, even though once you give it, you got to give it in good spirit and good deed. But there's a part of us that wants to know that that's exactly what we're given to. So creating events that really engage the community to come out and see, and giving them opportunities to give to what they're, to the level to which they're able to give. you know um $100,000 is not for me and you who are educated. We know what we make. We know that. So, but so that's not for us. The $100,000, though we are in the city of Atlanta. Let's not play around with it, right? We have become the new little Hollywood in the nation. So there's money out here, and there are people that are given to a lot of different things. $100,000 is a very small ask to help out your community, to help grow systems, to help out the people that are actually boots on the ground, making it happen, like Corey, like Coach, like Teryon, like the beautiful people of Noble Shungai Farms, all of our communities that are out here, and there are many.
And I could, just to piggyback on that, yes, and she meant to say partnership, and networking is the same word,
It
networking,
is, yes,
partnership. You have to
yes.
partner with different people. I have found out, like in rural areas, in those communities, the business owners want to participate, even though they may have a pawn shop or a furniture shop, something else. They are willing to participate in a community garden. Why? Because everybody eats. Everybody wants access to fresh foods. So just kind of, again, looking deep into your community, finding partners to support what's going on, finding
Local
locations.
CSA, local CS. I didn't mean to cut you off, Coach, but local
Oh,
CSAs. I get on a roll, and then certain things don't come out. But CSAs are very powerful.
what's the
And if
CSA?
Who that?
CSA, sorry, community, community sponsored, community specialized agriculture. And this really involves engaging the people around you to commit to helping out. They can come, they can, you can reserve a plot to however many plots that you may want to grow food for specific things. This is something that local restaurants can participate in. They can grow exclusive food for their restaurant. The sky really is the limit with that, and that it's as big as you can make it.
Okay, we completely agree. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Lady Felidia. You have been excellent.
Yes.
And Teryon, wait a minute. Teryon got some more.
Yes. How can we get in contact with NSF and support for our people out there who want to help your lovely mission and support all of these wonderful things that you are doing in our community?
Yeah, please share.
Thank you.
Or do we have a slide for that? Is there a flyer? Is there a picture for that?
We may, but either way, I'll tell you. You can definitely visit our website at nobleshungitefarmsinc.org, org. And you can also email us at info@nobleshungitefarmsinc.com. As well. And through there, we have all of our information about upcoming events. We have our volunteer form. We have our donation form where you can give, to whatever your heart is capable or would love to give. Any and all information about Noble Shungite Farms, as well as our partners, our family, who we are, and exactly what we do. You can find there. And we also have a YouTube channel as well, Noble Shungite Farms.
Noble Shungite Farm. Spell Shungite.
Shungite. It's not the regular spelling, you all. We have to be different. You know how we do when we name our kids. So it's SHUNGHITE. Noble Shungite Farms. Yes.
Noble Shungite.
A lot of people think that shungite is a crystal, but it is actually a mineraloid. And it is a carbon-rich, dense mineraloid. It's found in Russia exclusively. It's a very hard stone, and its properties and benefits are many and varied. It is tested throughout time. Its purification benefits are pretty much second to none. Also, in the wrong, levels, it could be toxic also, like most good things for you, right? So shungite is our name, but really it is our name because of the strength, because of the benefits that it serves anywhere where you find shungite. And that's part of who we are and our legacy. So thank you all. Thank you. There it is. There it is.
There is the sign.
Yes, thank you, media.
Daniel, producer of the year, goes to
Daniel Fitch. Yes, thank you so much, Daniel, for getting that up there. And that's exactly right. The ink part, all of that. So yes, please visit this website to learn more about urban agriculture, to volunteer if you want to get into urban agriculture. And please, everybody, whether you want to or not, donate. Every dollar is important. Every dollar counts. And you see that Lady Felidia has the right heart and spirit to carry out the mission that deserves your money. Okay, it's very important.
Look, you the farmer educator combo is you like, your heart is pure. Like, you're doing the work of the Lord out here.
Thank you.
The work of the Lord.
Yes.
We're all doing that work out here. Honestly, I appreciate you all ladies so much. I appreciate the entire family that's here. Corey, I love you. Producer behind the scenes, I love you too, because you dealt with me, and that's that's
Corey
not easy.
Corey is our other speaker, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Lady Felidia.
All right, love. Thank you, everyone. I'll see y'all out in the community.
January 25th. Thank you.
January 25th. We'll see you all. 1991 MLK Drive for the Agriculture Urban Ag Edition. AgUp. Well,
There you go.
Let's
Okay.
grow. Let's grow.
Let's go.
Our next speaker, yes, is going to be Mr. Corey McNair. He is an urban agriculture regenerative expert, and we are so happy to have him on with us today to go and talk about, agriculture enterprises and what it is to get into this urban ag world.
Yes, urban ag business. So yeah, Corey McNair again is an excellent is one of our experts again in urban agriculture. Corey, there's so many great things. I know on our last show last week we were just talking about a little bit background on them, but yeah, Corey, we're so glad you're here. Can you give us a little bit background on you as well? Let us know, about you, your family, and how did you even get into this thing? How you doing, Corey?
I'm doing well. How y'all doing today?
Good.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hey, indeed. A blessed 2025 indeed. Well, my name is Corey McNair. I'm a hyperlocal food systems creator, agriculture educator, a farmer, the watermelon man, pecan man. So a lot of different hats. Born and raised originally here in the metro Atlanta area. Family's originally from the deep south down in the lower part of Mississippi and the North Carolinas. Also have Cherokee and Choctaw familial paths. So growing up outside, I mean, we used to always go back to Mississippi during the summer. My grandma would throw a stick up in the tree, and me and my cousins run around and grab the pecans. And we sit on the porch and just shell pecans just to pass some time. And then we'd be out at the cousin's plantation, back in the woods, cutting stuff down. So we just kind of, and once you're outside, you gotta stay outside all day. So being exposed to the environment was, it wasn't really a choice. It was a lifestyle, and I'm grateful for it. I got into agriculture as a profession. I went to FAMU and I was studying agriculture business. Well, originally I was studying engineering, couldn't make it to class, FAMU, Tallahassee. From there I went into business and I'm like, I'm not this cutthroat. And then I found agriculture business. And through there, I did a summer intern program with the National Park Service, with the feds. And they sent me up first they sent me out to Wyoming to the Grand Tetons, and going out there, being able to see the handiwork of God. I was already on my spiritual journey at that point, but to be able to see the creation and just see such the magnificence of it all. From there, I did a summer internship program in Empire, Michigan, Sand Dunes National Lakeshore. And while out there doing invasive species work, hiking around all day, hunting plants, during my downtime, I found a boarding school where they had a closed loop system. The chef there grew food. They had a greenhouse, solar panels. She grew some food, had some chickens, eggs, but then she also had compost. And so she had created a closed loop cycle. And so it was there that I got to see what a hyper local system looked like. This was a little boarding school up in there. And I was like, there's some power to this. Being a man of faith, when it talks about when Jesus said, feed Peter, if you love me, feed my flock. If you love me, feed my sheep. If you love me, feed my people. It was very direct. Growing up in the church, one of the things that I remember so heavily was the meal. We'd have service and then we just sit down and we would eat together. And how powerful that act is. Quick little plug. Everybody make time to eat with your family. Sit down, have a meal, put the devices down and just talk to one another. Spend a little time together. As minute as it may seem, it's a very powerful tool in order for galvanizing families and communities. So yeah, from there I ended up in the agriculture business, and I've been studying. I got a degree in ag business. Graduated in 2015. When I came back from my internship, that's where I was at. I found a community youth farm called iGrow, and there, under the auspice of Sundiata Amiel, I learned how to compost, and now I can go anywhere in the world and grow food. Um, and it saved my life. I love it. Agriculture is for everybody. Did some teaching in special education. Coming straight out of college, my year I graduated, I also started my first company called Ya Roots LLC. Good roots, good fruit, and just a whole line of agriculture companies and careers and situations teaching. Taught juvenile detention for some time as well too. So when we get into the mental health aspects of being in a garden or a farm or just in agriculture, and getting back to the original way that was designed, like I said, to write the vision and make it plain. Well, in the very first book of Genesis, it tells us very plainly to have a garden and to keep it. So yeah, I hope that answered the question.
Oh my gosh, Corey, you are just awesome. Expert is it doesn't really do you any justice. You have a calling on your life. You have gifts and talents that you are blessing us with every day. And we appreciate how you are incorporating God into this thing. He is the creator. He is the
Yes.
original. Is that which
The
one
original
came
farmer.
first? Yeah, he brought it all first. And so thank you again for everything that your life has led up to now. We just thank God for you in your life.
Hallelujah.
Yes, and so Corey, there are lots of facets to you, and so we really want to. We talked with Lady Felidia earlier about hydroponics and aquaponics and community food systems, but another big topic is how can I become an entrepreneur, an agricultural entrepreneur, and your life again is taking you into that direction. Atlanta Harvest.
Yeah, so with Atlanta Harvest, that's my brother's company. It's located at 3529 Anvil Block Road. You can look them up on all social media. And it was the first farm and grocery store, a black-owned farm and grocery store. So in Ellenwood off of Anvil Block Road, we have a grocery store that we've built. It's under a tent right now, but we cleared the woods, we laid down the foundation, we milled the timber, we put up the store frame. Now we're doing the finishing work. We have all types of stuff. We've got meats, eggs for those that do partake from our own cattle and from our own chickens. We've got veggies. We've got herbs and teas, soaps. So please check us out. For every dollar, and if you know anybody, for every dollar that's spent on food assistance programs, you get $1. So you spend $1, you get $1. So you can't beat it. Open Sunday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Please go and check it out. Get you some fresh food. Post COVID, and even now we're seeing it after this last little snow that we got. The shelves can get thin, if not empty. And so being able to connect to someone locally in your community is very important when we just think about access to fresh food, access to good food. When we have food that's not coming from over 1,000 miles away, the nutrient content is going to be much higher, which therefore you won't have to eat for calories, but then you can eat for actual nutrients. So for nutrient dense food in the Atlanta area, metro Atlanta area, please go visit Atlanta Harvest. And one of the other beauties of what Atlanta Harvest does, in addition to the food that it grows through Atlanta Harvest and its subsidiaries, but it's also a place where rural Georgia farmers are able to bring their produce. The southeastern farmers are able to bring their produce, and we be able to actually distribute it to them in the urban community. because that's one of the main things that we see in the rural farmers. One of the major hurdles that they have to pass. They can grow the food, but due to food sovereignty, um, accessibility things, it's difficult for Black farmers a lot of times to sell their produce and get a good price for it. So Atlanta Harvest is helping to stand in the gap for a lot of our rural farmers as well, too. Black rural, BIPOC rural farmers, as well as all rural farmers. Because just the accessibility and access to good food is needed for all people. From there, if you go to Atlanta Harvest, and you can find how to get in contact with me, Y'all Roots. We specialize in agriculture education for K through 12, gearing students towards agriculture career pathways, as well as home gardens, community gardens, and corporate gardens. So if you live in a neighborhood and there may not be a space in an apartment complex, and there may not be a space for you to have your own personal garden, but there may be some space in the community to have a community garden, please reach out to us. We can go on your behalf and converse with with wherever your living situation is, and help to actually get some accessibility, even if that's not even a community garden, but just 10 fruit trees throughout the neighborhood. So there's always something, or nut trees. So there's something growing, and God forbid we don't have access to something. You know that there's something within at least 1 mile of where you are. And just integrating and coming up with those systems so all people can have access to good food at some point.
I got to speak up. I completely agree with you, Corey, on that. If you recognize within a mile there's no fresh food, then maybe it's you that needs to start that thing up. Go find some space. And Corey did not lead into this, but he can help you design your homestead, your home garden, so that it'll fit in the area. You can get some type of produce production done, whether it's fruit trees or actual row crops. So yeah, talk more about that too, Corey. How you
Okay, awesome, definitely. And so that's my agriculture consulting services that we do through Y'all Roots, where if you already have a garden, but you may need some coaching, we can help with coaching. If you want us to come out and do a visitation, we can do that for you as well. We can also do design and garden plans. We help all sorts of institutions, faith-based institutions, everybody, schools. We do after-school programming. We use Psalm in order to teach children how to grow food wherever they are in the world, and the things that are needed to be considered.
Yeah.
Children and people, all people, because like I say, just the ability to know that you need to look for sun, you need to look for water, you need to look for soil, you need to have good seed, and you need to have an expectation of growth. So when we get into the mental health components of things when it comes to gardening, it's so powerful. And having an expectation of good, so often in our community, especially, we speak the things that we do not desire. Going back to planning and having a vision, you need to speak those things that you desire only, and have an expectation of the growth, and not waiting till you see the fruit to begin your praise and your exaltation. But at the blade is when you begin your praise, because it lets you know that your petition has been heard on high. We've been able to become so comfortable through grocery stores and the accessibility. It's made us very comfortable and complacent. And through that, through that complacency, we no longer have to depend on a right relationship with the Father in order to receive that early and latter rain. And so in the midst of all of these things that are going on, there really is a call back to this dependence from on high, us being his sons and his daughters. And he's a good father. And so just being able to rekindle that relationship, because before there was ever a written text, the creation spoke to us, and it still speaks to us. It's, are we in it and have the ability to see it? and to access his plain talking to us.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what I love about God. Is he is law, and so everything that he has created is gonna go how he said it was gonna go, because he is the creator of that seed. If he said it's gonna take 2 weeks for this to grow or 2 months for it to grow, it's gonna happen like that, and that's how you know it's gonna happen, because he said it was. And
Yeah.
and so just knowing, having that confidence, like I was saying, just in everything that God is capable of doing. It, like you said, we need to get back to that dependency on him, and being more connected in knowing who he is, like you were saying, who our father is. Like you call him and ask for anything. If you don't know where to go to get it, if you don't know how to get it, he gonna give you everything that you need to figure it out. And that's just a beautiful thing. Especially when it comes to, like you said, knowing that at any point in time it can be all taken away, that they can shut the grocery stores down, and then what?
And then what?
And then what?
Yeah.
Or natural, and even if they don't shut the grocery stores down, but just natural disaster, like how we're seeing in California with all the fires and things. It doesn't even have to necessarily be some kind of, you know what I'm saying? It could literally just be from the environment. Plagues are in the earth, just to say it plainly. But the Father's good, and there is
how
a way.
good he is, Corey. They call you the watermelon man and the pecan man. Can you tell us about that as well? Because we want to talk about making money now all the time.
Okay, all right. We're gonna talk about being in the giving or receiving role, and how it can be profitable. There's healing in the watermelons. Number one, watermelons are a very powerful plant. One of the reasons that we saw so much negative advertisement about it, especially around Black people, is because Black farmers were making so much money selling watermelons across the board, and then it made us super strong and live real good. So I say it plainly. I tell everybody, if you don't like watermelon, seed the watermelon, something wrong with you. Something wrong with you. You don't like seeded watermelon, something wrong with you. It's just that simple. I'm gonna keep you in my prayers, because there's healing in the watermelon. Being able to take a seed, heirloom seed, preferably, many different places to get those from, but being able to take a seed, put it in the ground, and that seed that may be a 5-cent seed can produce you a $20 to $30 watermelon, depending on the size. But that's whole. That's just if you keep it whole. If you want to cut the pack up, then you can see $60 to $80 per melon, depending on how you want to do that thing. So when we think about, but the biggest component about it is when we think about, like I say, being in the position of giving and receiving, knowing that you're growing something and giving it to somebody with the purpose of it providing them health and healing. When we think about food systems, when schools have space and they're able to produce, now we're looking at ways to help teacher retention. Teachers definitely more likely to stay at a school if they know that they can supplement a portion of their grocery bill with food that's being produced in their community. So when we think about food systems, it just goes so far. So now when you've heard about these different Project 2025s and all this other stuff, and the school board, Department of Education not being funded anymore. Well, okay, if schools are producing food and they have excess, if not even producing money, being able to cut the cost for operations through what's being grown, being able to supplement on that end, and being able to grow a more robust system, and getting to speaking to the children early on, K through 5, introducing them to outside, getting them to understand that nature is not trying to kill them, and that's not a bee that can sting you. It's a bumblebee, or that's a fly. So getting out of that fear-based relationship, that fear-based relationship with nature, because we can't have that if we're going to have a truly sustainable future. The children are going to be the ones that are able to pick up the torch and keep the machine going. There's so many people just have, even if they have family, even if you have family land, I mean, what is it to go put 10 fruit trees out on the land, or you got a big enough backyard where you can put a few fruit trees out there, few plants, and have access to fresh food, and with the overflow being able to sell it to your community. But knowing that, like I said, most importantly, you're able to serve and you're able to give.
Thank you so much, Corey, for that input. And you guys, y'allroots.com. Please visit that website. It is definitely going to assist you in consulting with someone who can help you, again, formulate what it is that you're trying to do in your own settings. To also help communities get involved, again, with how do we bring in a community food system, y'allroots.com. Check that out. And then again, of course, visit Atlanta Harvest. They are growing and doing great things and doing the big work of connecting our rural farmers. They need a place. They're growing it. They know how to do it, but they don't have no place to sell it. So again, Corey, thank you so much for your input and everything. And we're going to bring you back again probably next week as we keep talking about regenerative grow. And so thank you again, Corey. Any last words if you want to mention anything?
Yes, just want to tell you all thank you for having me. Thank you for the work that you're doing because it's needed. Somebody's got to do it, and so to be able to take up the mantle and do it is greatly appreciative. Dealing with regenerative, since you did bring that up. Regenerative agriculture is being able to create a system that regenerates itself. The type of farming, gardening that I take is how can we grow the most nutrient dense food without having to go and purchase inputs? Why do I say that? Because before we could go to a store, we've been growing food for thousands of years. Everything has been given to us and we have been equipped with all that we need in order to produce for ourselves, in order to receive from above. Because one man planteth, another watereth, and the Father giveth the increase. So please reach out, even if you have a school garden. One of our other companies is Compost Power. It's nutrient dense, microbially alive compost. We can help set up compost systems. Even if you don't have funding, please reach out. We can find some funding. It'll come forth. I've seen it happen enough times. If we make this space and we begin the work, the funds will come forth. So we have to transition into a point where we are purpose driven as opposed to solely profit driven. When money fails, food will be the new currency. And we saw this in the story of Joseph. This isn't a if it can happen. It's more of a when it can happen. Because we know what it's like to have a pocket full of money and the shelves are empty. So just because we have the money doesn't mean that we'll have the access. So we have to get back into dealing with the resource-driven economies, as opposed to fiat, paper, toilet tissue.
Bartering.
Yes, however, and even just we have to open up our minds to what life really is, what really are our necessities. And with 2026 coming and the way that they're developing here in the Atlanta area, I like to tell people Atlanta is the capital city, if you've seen the Hunger Games. We have a situation where the entertainment industry is coming to Atlanta already here. And we have a situation where the economic industry, which was New York, shifting down here, i.e. why we see companies like Google, companies like Microsoft, FIFA, the World Cup will be here 2026. And we see the way that they're building all around the metro area, whether you're in the north, south, east, or west. the level of development that's going on. They're expecting a lot of people here. And so right now is a very important time for getting and it's so good that they came out with the urban, what's considered an urban farm, because how are we going to feed all these people? It's always on my mind. Like, it's always on my mind because I'm seeing the fields that used to be available and they're gone. Even like the little lots, and everything seems to be going towards housing and development, which is good. We just need to be able to have something if need be. So that's it. You can find me at yahroots.com. Please go to Atlanta Harvest. All social media, Yahroots, YAH space ROOTZ, good roots, good fruit. I yield.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yahroots. Yay. Thank you so much again. That was Corey McNair. Y'all definitely check him out at yahroots.com. And yeah, please visit Atlanta Harvest. And we will have Corey back again because he is, again, one of our experts when we're talking about urban agriculture.
Thank you so much. Corey.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Corey. And you have a good night. And we will talk
You as
to
well.
you again soon.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, you guys. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to do a quick wrap up. I'm going to do a separate podcast again to talk about urban agriculture innovation production grants. That grant, they just did a release, you guys, January 8th. So I got to do this like quick sound bite about the news release. Again, that was the grant.
UAIP grant.
The UAIP. So, recently the U.S. Department of Ag created a urban ag department. So they're in 12 major cities around the America. And the urban ag grants is out right now. They just released it, and the deadline is March 10th. So you see how quick that is. I'm going to do, again, a separate podcast to talk about planning projects and implementation projects for this grant. We don't want to get behind. We want to be ahead. So please tune in, and I definitely will, again, go over all the way through this UAIP grant. Just like we went through the marketing for specialty crops, we will be going through this urban ag innovation production grant. So I just want to send another shout out about our event that's coming up January 25th. Agriculture for United People, Urban Ag Edition, and that is going to be an awesome event. We're going to have, again, USDA representatives there. We're going to have hydroponic systems up, and you'll actually be able to see how these things work. We'll be at a community food system location at that time, so you can actually see a community garden, see the community that it is in, and see if it works for you. Next week, we'll be joined by Noreen Whitehead, Georgia National Women in Agriculture, Georgia Chapter Chair, Noreen Whitehead. She'll be coming next week, again, to talk more about the different organizations and things that are around that you can get connected to help forward your own urban ag needs and desires. So thank you all again. Like and subscribe. And we appreciate all of your comments. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I was just going to say, again, thank you all for tuning in for another wonderful episode of the AgUp World. Let's grow together. Comment your goals for this new year, whether it be agriculture related or just something personal that you're trying to achieve, so we can write a vision, make it plain, and we can support each other in achieving them together.
Yes. Okay. And don't forget that AgUp World is all about us planting, growing, and harvesting together. Okay. So hopefully you learned a lot. Energy up, and we'll see you next week at AgUp World.
Bye. We'll see you later. Say see you later.
Peace.
Good night, sweetie.